Let's talk about it.
There it is.
Hey, handsome, how are you?
What's going on, girl?
God, long time no see. Can I just say, and respectfully, I love you like a brother, but can I just say that you could get lost in those blue eyes? And you know what? You can. Don't, your eyes are so blue today, my friend. I'm loving this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I'm
Lord
loving
gets
this. Look
lost
at
in
this. I missed your face so much. I missed everybody.
the face.
God, I did. I really did. I'm really excited about tonight. Guys, as you can tell, I'm not in my studio. I am on the road. It's been a trying time. I'm not back home. I lost my grandmother just less than a month ago. And I've been traveling trying to sort out her estate. But yeah, and can I just say something, Richard? And I never talked about this before we went live, but I know that you would respect this.
Yes.
I would like to um, make this episode for somebody.
Okay.
We lost a very loyal viewer today, and Joanne Van Coonen was a very, very loyal viewer.
Yep.
She was a fan. She watched every episode, and unfortunately, today Joanne lost her battle with cancer. And so, I'd like to kind of donate this episode to her in memory of her, because she was she was a very close person to my heart. And, I think it's only fair. Joanne, this one's for you. We missed you. And I'm sorry that you couldn't see us in life, but you'll be seeing us in death, and come and knock on our doors.
No, that's sweet. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. We'll absolutely dedicate this episode to Joanne.
Yeah.
I saw the announcement on Facebook, and I passed my condolences, but thank you for bringing it into light.
Yeah.
We
She was a
appreciate
wonderful lady.
people. We've missed you. We've missed your
So
faces too, that we can see anyway. It's so great to be back. It took a little while. It took a little logistical, planning. Life had to kind of get somewhat back into shape first, because life interrupts everything. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate that. One bit of stuff, you're going to hear a lot more of me tonight with comments, because Katie is not able to see comments. Normally she's got 72 phones going, and they're all kind of lined up on the wall, and so she can see comments from this book, this network, that network, comments in the room from my page. So tonight it's all up to me. I will try my best not to fail you. So if you have a comment or a question directed directly at Katie, you need to say, hey, Katie, can you tell me this? Or just say her name, preface it with her name, and I'll be able to read it to her so she can answer it for you guys. We've got a ton of people that have come in the room. Amazing. The one thing that kept me doing this for as long as I've done it with this show, and definitely with you on it, it's a different world. But for doing it for 5.5 years, was the amount of show up our fans and our viewers have. The amount of show up and support. We've been gone now for 2 months. That is a lot of show up, and we want to thank you guys very much for making our our initial new show so far a great one. Looking at the viewership, and we just want to thank you for that. The format's going to change a little. We're going to do probably about 3 months of weekends, and then we're going to take a 1-month hiatus. The problem with it was simply is that life caught up.
Yes.
And we're going to need that time just to be able to take a breather, to be able to catch up with life again. So that'll be the break we take. 3 on, 1 off is kind of what we're looking for now on the schedule. Plus, again, I know Katie's working on projects. I've got projects going as well. with my team, and it's the funny thing about the paranormal guys. If you're not into it in the aspect that her and I are, is like 1 minute you're calm and quiet and bored, next minute you're slammed against the wall, and you don't know which way to turn. And that's kind of where we were at, and that's kind of where we're going back to again. So this will be interesting.
Right.
Hey, Mort, what's going on, Jeremy?
Hey, everybody. Everybody, thank you so much for joining again. I can't see your comments for those of you coming into the chat as we speak. I can't see any comments tonight. So anything specific for me, you're more than welcome to message Richard or put it in the chats. Richard will read it to me. But unfortunately, because I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I can't see the comments. Okay, but I missed you. I missed you all very much.
Yeah, it's really nice to be back to engage with you guys again and see the pretty faces we do see. Now, I will tell you, we do simulcast at 2 different networks. So there's accessibility. If you look at the show graphic, there is a hyperlink address. You could put a URL. You could put into your URL line on your computer and go directly to be able to see the show, or you could just come to mine, which I'm perfectly fine with, and watch it and rewatch, or if you miss it, watch it afterwards. That's perfectly fine as well. But we do simulcast at 2 different networks, and that kind of keeps us a little busy to do. But we're glad to have them. We're glad to be a part of that organization. So tonight, wow, yeah, this is kind of we've already got so many people.
Got lots of questions already.
Well, Francine said, Katie, last 2 months, whenever I turn on my phone and check the time, I always see 1:11 or 20 or 2:22 and so on. What are they trying to tell me?
Oh, that's a great question. So, the 111, the 222, there's many various numbers, and they're often called angel numbers. And what they are is it's a spiritual message to you. So it's not necessarily the time specific. I mean, sometimes those numbers do mean, specific angel type of messages, whether there's change coming or calm down or, be careful, something negative could be coming. But a lot of times when you see those numbers, it's what you're consciously thinking about at the moment. So why did you turn your phone on? Were you thinking of somebody in particular? Were you apprehensive about something? Were you, trying to Google something to get an answer to something? A lot of times those things mean that you're on the right track, or they're acknowledging the fact that you are thinking about this. So you may be, subconsciously looking for an answer, and they're giving you that answer that you're on the right path. So that's a great question. And keep that up. I often tell people, don't look for the numbers, let the numbers find you, and you're going to have more success that way. When I'm getting uncomfortable, when I'm having a moment of anxiety, or I'm looking to get validation for something, that's when the numbers usually come for me.
No, absolutely. And numerology is a really great thing that not many people have delved into. Mm-hmm. It's not really gone into very heavily at all by many people that I know of yet. But there's a curiosity surrounding it.
Yeah.
Now, Melvin said, I missed y'all. Been a rough 4 months for me with cancer and impending surgery. Look, Melvin, brother, good. Number one, good to see you back.
Yes.
Good to see you back. Number two, requested time off when turned down does not mean get sick and disappear. So next time you need requested time off, you can find other ways to take time off other than getting sick. Right?
But you know what, Melvin? Just so that you know, we prayed for you. We prayed for you. I prayed for you. Richard prayed for you. We prayed for you, buddy. And I don't just say that we did. I knew you were going to come out okay. So I'm happy that you did.
Well, then Tammy said, "Hi, everyone. Missed you, Katie." What the hell?
I missed you too. I missed you too. I missed Richard. I missed you. I missed everybody. It's because you can see the comments, Richard. That's all. I can't see the comments, so they just want to make sure that it's being read.
Oh, here's something being shoved your way. As a Paralanx show host, you both definitely are invited to be speakers and vendors for the New Orleans Fear Fest Paracon in October of 2023.
Nolans, yes, I will accept. I will accept this invitation. I would love to go down there. Sounds good to me.
And he just said, look at the show host site for details. Well, absolutely.
So, guys, while Richard's
Oh,
looking at comments, please, I can tell 2 months has gone by. You've had your paranormal questions. As you guys know, for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, normally we have a subject topic that we talk about specifically. We get into specifics, but because we were coming back today, we kind of wanted to break the ice and let you know who we are. I'm a psychic medium and a paranormal investigator, and Richard's a psychic medium and paranormal investigator, and we combine those efforts, and we often talk about all things paranormal, whether it be safety, best practices, equipment 101, all of those things. So a lot of times we have an open forum concept. So this is a very safe environment to which you guys, there's no bullying, there's no stupid questions. You're more than welcome to step in and ask any questions. It's a big family here. And if it's not something that you want to ask on a public chat, you're more than welcome to private message us too, and we can answer it for you. But tonight we thought we would just come on, kind of talk about what we've been up to in the last 2 months. Richard, you have been doing some pretty intense investigations, my friend, which I think you should talk about a little bit.
I have. I've been to 2 locations. One is involved in a project we're being filmed for. Another one was just an investigation as a team, which turned into a documentary as well, which is kind of crazy. Anyway, both were very, very aggressively active.
Wow.
Members of my team got approached, got attacked. We took care of one spirit in the building.
Oh.
My size 15 shoot kind of came across his derriere kind of quick.
Oh, yeah. My goodness.
And he's no longer in the building. But yeah, no, it's been a whirlwind. Guys, I will tell you the 2 locations we've been. The one we were at last night, because I literally, with our team, just got done filming a segment last night for this project. Just ended last night. I am concerned. As exciting as it was, I was a little concerned about anyone going in there to investigate without being prepared.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's even with professional teams, even people who have been doing it for years, it's another one of those locations where you have to be very careful going into it. And yeah, it's going to make great television. Great. But yeah, I mean, people got hurt, people got scratched, people got jumped, it was if there was ever any facet of the paranormal that could happen last night.
Wow.
So yeah, we've been a little busy. We've been a tad busy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then we've got our final filming for series end is going to be December 3rd to be the last one we do.
Wow. And undisclosed locations, right? This is something that's confidential. Unfortunately, you can't use specifics, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's
You're
okay.
not allowed to. It's one of those little, one of those little things.
Yeah.
That you just can't say no. So we don't do it. Everything is supposed to be on the hush hush. But I will tell you, once I get a release of the project, and location where you can see it and everything else, we'll talk about on the show, and we'd appreciate your support of it. It would be great. So for us, it's exciting. It's been a while since I've been on camera. I'm about half the man I used to be. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Now, I saw your Facebook where you were on an investigation. Where were you?
So my team and I traveled down to Picton, Ontario, Canada, and we went to a place called Prince Edward Heights, which has been a multitude of things. It was a military base that turned into there was a hospital at one time. It was turned into a psychiatric ward in terms of like developmentally delayed housing, and it was a few other things as well. And my team and I had been there once before a couple of years ago, and what we did was actually a good friend of mine, Linda Quirion from Paranormal Survivor. Her team came, and Black Moon Paranormal came, and there's a bunch of other people. Wes Coleman came from COPS. He's another well-known paranormal investigator, and so our teams got together, and there's multi buildings, and we got to investigate. The last time that we investigated, it was quite active, and we had some intense moments. But this time, every team, none of the teams got together and kind of pre-discussed things. We all went our separate ways and tried to collect evidence and do our communications, and then kind of at the end, in between, we would talk about it. And all of the teams came to the same conclusion. Something extremely malevolent was going on, something that we had not experienced 2 years before, and something that actually had its sights set on specific members. I know that April, one of my members of my paranormal team, was like targeted hardcore. Saying profanities at her, telling her that he owned her. At one point there was an entity that mimicked her voice, specifically got it on audio, and everybody said, like, that's April, but April was in a different building. It was really intense. And so, it was not a disappointing thing. We're still going through a lot of the evidence. We're still going through a lot of the audio. As you know, it takes hours to do this. So, and I've been away. As soon as we finished that investigation, I hopped in the car the next day and traveled down to my grandmother's. So, I still have some stuff to go through, but it was intense. It was a great experience. Anybody in Ontario, anybody in Canada that wants to have a cool experience, check it out. Prince Edward Heights is what it's called. They have their own website. It's really great. Yeah.
Now, Herbie's question is to both of us: do you guys believe in Santeria? Yes. My mom's family side was in it. Now, when I was younger, I saw many and learned a few things. In my experience with Santeria is, and it's not a slight in any way, but my education on it is pretty damn close to voodoo. There's sacrificing, things like that are done, and that's a very aggressive belief system. That's just been my experience. I've had to go in and clean up, metaphysically speaking, clean up after somebody who created a Santerian altar in a building before. That was harsh. Mm-hmm. So that's a really aggressive belief system, and it's out there. I've been pretty well experienced with it in the South here, because I'm pretty close. I mean, I'm 8 hours from New Orleans, and I'm down here in the deep South. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
I believe that anything you put your active intent into is powerful. So for me, it's like, you believe in that and you put that active intent towards it, and any type of faith, you're gonna get something back. The thing is, with a lot of those rituals, whether it's hoodoo, voodoo, black magic, Santeria, all of that stuff, there's a balance that happens. There's never, when you expect something or request something, you have to balance the scale. And so not a lot of good gets out of it sometimes. So it just depends on the situation. It depends on who's doing these things, what the content is for. Not everybody who does hoodoo is bad. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Not everybody that paranormal investigates are conjuring evil spirits or going to portals of hell either, right? So It's kind of your active intent in what you're doing with these types of things.
Yeah. And again, it's to me, it's a pretty scary belief system. It leans, in my book, for me, it leans too close to voodoo. For me, they won't come anywhere near it. But again, it's a different dynamic than a typical voodoo priestess or whatever would have or operate under, but it's in that same line, and that's the part that gets me. Francine said, Richard, do you believe and bring crystals with you for protection? Yes. So all the ladies and one of the guys on my team all have Super 7 stone necklaces. Okay. I have my Super 7 stone. Lori has hers. Our son Devin has white tourmaline. Yes. And I'm a big proponent of taking every measure possible for protection.
Absolutely.
Okay? And you have to be careful. I'm just going to say this just because I can, and also because at one time in my life I was a minister. So if you believe in using nothing but religious means to protect yourself, you're going to be shocked when you find out how many spirits don't believe in your God.
Right. It's the powerful aspect of it. Yeah.
a very powerful aspect of it. And it can be very dangerous. So, I would tell you again, look at every avenue you can of protection: white light bubbles, dial down method, crystals in any
Mhm.
way. I mean, there's a lot of ways to protect yourself, and I wouldn't mind taking any one of them. I mean, I'll just say it without saying his name. I actually saged and with Palo Santo wood and sage, I actually smudged a deacon in the Catholic Church last night.
Yep. Sometimes you have to.
Someone who's open enough to understand that he should have protection of all forms,
Yep.
including God. So, yeah. Bring anything you can. That's what I would tell you.
Mhm.
Anything. All right. So Nadine said, I've never heard from any family members who had crossed over except through dreams. I recently had a reading gifted to me, and it was exceptional, detailed, and thorough. Since then, I have felt completely connected to them, and I wonder um, if either of you have had connected to your own family members.
Yeah.
Go ahead, because I got a short one.
Absolutely. So my grandfather passed away. Him and I were very, very, very close, and he's always with me.
Hey,
My
Debbie.
grandmother just recently passed away less than a month ago,
Sorry.
and I was at her house this week doing a lot of cleaning up a lot of things and preparing the estate. And she was chirping in my ear the whole time, telling me where I should put things and who should have this and where this should go. And so to answer your question, absolutely not all family members are prepared to chat. Now, for those of you that don't know, my grandmother was one of the most psychic people I've ever met in my life. She was a very gifted psychic medium, very extremely in tune, but not somebody who advertised nor did readings. She was just, that was her. And so you know where I get it from. And
Right.
so it was not a surprise for me, nor was it a surprise for her to come through. But I've had other members come through dreams. I've had them come through, phones using natural elements like electricity and fire and all of that stuff. But yes, to answer your question, they do come through very much.
Yeah, I had an experience that wasn't pleasant. My sister was born mentally retarded and had spinal bifida. Had a really rough life until she died very mysteriously at 32.
Oh,
She actually came to me once, and it was a very uncomfortable experience because even though she was whole on the other side, it's going to sound extremely odd, I had never had a conversation that was intelligible with her before.
right.
This one was. So I was able to, through her murmurs, through her muddling, through her mumbling, understand if she wanted something, she'd be able to point to it or whatever, which was fine. But to actually hear her complete the statements as well as you and I are speaking to each other, because again, she was whole on the
Right.
other side, was honestly a little more than unnerving.
Yes,
I wasn't prepared for it. I
Yep.
wasn't prepared for it. My dad came to me. He was actually one of my biggest paranormal experiences when I was 18. He passed, and he really wasn't maybe 3 months later. And I'm laying on the living room floor watching TV. Mind you, I'm 18. And he always had his chair in the dining room that he sat at when he played cards with the family, when he drank his coffee, when he ate his meals. It was always this one particular chair. And I happened to just be looking over there, something caught my eye, and it was him sitting in the chair. He just looked at me and smiled and just disappeared.
How
That was
cool
a good
is
one.
that?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good one.
Yes.
But it kind of screws you up when you're 18 years old and just still trying to figure out what's going on with you.
Absolutely. So did anybody else experience this Mercury retrograde? I can tell you I did. I had a lot of crazy stuff happening. I think as a collective, a lot of people did. And, I'm going to say I'm sorry now because it seems like everybody, stuff hit the fan for everybody. Good news is we're over it now. Things should be going into a calming state and everything should be back to the way it should be or getting there. So, but I know that the moon and the retrograde definitely affected me, and I'm sure it affected other people too. And what people don't realize is not only does it affect the living, it affects the dead too. These magnetic field shifts and all that stuff, it affects how you collect evidence. It affects how hauntings happen. It affects, like, there's a lot going on. So people on the other side may get interference in terms of communication as well, but we don't often look at that.
No. Nadine sent just a statement to you both. You're both looking great. Rachel, your face is thinner and clearer and bright. And Katie, you look very happy and bright as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Now, Stephanie said, I don't have any questions for you guys, but I could assure you some prayers if you don't mind. I'm kind of a mess lately.
Absolutely. Sent. Prayers are done.
Sent your way, and yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We'll get that done. And
Stephanie, if I may, I don't normally do online reads, or I don't normally do it this way during the show, but darling, there's talks of a move that you need to make. Okay, there's a move that needs to be made, and you're stuttering on the move. Once you get all that sorted out, that's when it's going to be better for you. Okay.
And there you go.
Yep.
We are a full service podcast. No, but seriously, if you need to chat or whatever, we're available. If you need us, to chat with you, it's not a problem at all. Nadine said, I had a very hard time with family members during the retrograde.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you mean the living one.
I think everybody was in a state of confusion. Everybody was in a state of panic. Anxiety levels were much higher. There was a lot going on. And so because of that, I think people were having not really great experiences. And as a collective in the overall universal energy, when everybody's vibration is up, that's causing problems. What people don't realize is when we talk about higher vibrations is a lighter vibration. Higher vibration doesn't mean, in a state of like, got to do it fast. We're not talking about fast vibrations, or we're not talking about it in when you have anxiety. That's not a high vibration. High vibration is happy and comfortable and relaxed and cool and calm and grounded. And I found that during this retrograde, a lot of people weren't.
Yeah, this was not a good period of energy time at all for anyone. Everyone's like, oh my God, what's going on? Retrograde. Oh my God, life sucks. Retrograde. So it was just, it's one of those kind of things where you have to sit back and just coast it out. Coast it out. Jane, welcome to the show tonight. We've got a couple of people. Thanks for coming back, guys. Thank you all for coming back to see us.
Thank you for coming with us. As we said, we didn't have much of a structure tonight for our show. We wanted to kind of touch base with you guys and see what was going on. We certainly don't want to bore you, but if you have questions that you've saved, you're welcome to ask away. I wanted to touch base, since you've dealt with some loss, and I lost my dog, and I lost my grandmother, and I lost a very good friend's mother, Joanne, today. As you guys know, we dedicated this episode to her. Listen, I wanted to kind of touch base on grief. I wanted to touch base on grief and how it affects us, not only the living, but how grief affects death and people who have passed away. I had the pleasure of being able to speak with Joanne's family, and Joanne was okay with death, and she was okay. She was all right to go. But that doesn't always have the same effect with each person that passes. When people pass unexpectedly due to accidents or sudden deaths, that grieving process shifts, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the entity to cross over. So as you know, we've talked about in prior episodes, ghosts and spirits are two separate things, right? Ghosts are earthbound entities. They're the ones that choose to stay or confused and stay. And spirits are the ones that have crossed over and come back for visits. When somebody has had a confusing death, a tragic death, an unexpected death, sometimes that orientation or to get reacquainted on the other side, to wake up, to not be as foggy, occurs. And so it may take a little bit longer for you to receive messages from the other side. Some people say, well, I haven't heard from my grandmother or my cousin in 6 months. Well, how did they pass a tragic motorcycle accident? A lot of times when people are prepared, they've gone through the grieving process themselves as they're in hospice, as they're going through the death process. Death occurs before the spirit has left the body, quite frankly. And when they have that process happening, a lot of times they're able to come back a lot quicker and speak their piece a lot quicker and kind of send their messages off. So, I often tell people, please be patient, because it just depends on how it happened and how you're doing as the grieving family member, spouse, loved one, for them to be able to make that contact with you.
Great stuff, great answers. Now, Tara says, if you're trying to reach a specific person with a device, pendulum, etc., how do you know you're interacting with the person you're concentrating on?
That's a great question.
Because believe it or not, spirits lie.
Absolutely.
They lie.
Yep.
There are some that are so, in my book, and I'll make this quick because I'm sure my partner's got a lot more eloquent answer, but there are a lot of spirits out there that are just driving to get your attention, because you have to remember, most spirits are thermal creatures. They need the thermal heat. They need to be able to continue on. They need the thermal heat to survive on their end of it. So they can keep you in conversation, keep you giving your attention to them. They continue to feed and feast on you.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell you, in my opinion, I'm going to give you the trucker answer. In my opinion, I would start asking questions that spirit can't read from you to be able to get. Confirmation questions are important. Stupid, random crap that only the person that you're trying to deal with would know. Just things that would make no sense to the average person at all. And that gets hard to do. It gets arduous. So, it's a little bit tougher than you think. What do you got to say about that, Kate?
You know what? I don't think I could have answered that any better. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. A lot of times spirits use vulnerability as a gateway. So vulnerability, naivete, that type of thing, where you're gullible, okay? And so they're going to use that to kind of get you going, so that they can feed off of you or get into your space and attach to you. Asking specific questions. What was the name of the street you grew up on, or what was my nickname? What was our favorite activity? Higher dimensional beings often know that, but on a spirit level, that you're getting specifics as to who you're speaking with. But here's a secret, and something that you should really consider when you're trying to communicate with someone. When you pick up the phone to call somebody, you have somebody in mind to which you want to communicate with. Okay, paranormal investigations and walking into a location and trying to seek out what is there, who is there, and why they're there is a little bit different than trying to have communication or channeling with a specific entity. Okay, I would have never encouraged somebody who just has a pendulum or has a device and they just feel like communicating, because that's like picking up a phone and dialing a random number. You don't know who you're going to get on the other end. If you're looking at specifically contacting or making contact with an entity, you need to, dial their number. In other words, say their name, request you want to speak to them only. You can say it outside, you can say it in your mind, but have the active intent of who you're wanting to communicate with in order to get that proper communication, okay? And then you do the skill testing questions. Then you're going to ask the proper questions. And from there, ask 4 or 5 questions if you know, and go from there. And you're going to know real quick. And listen to your body. If you're getting these answers and your body's kind of going, I don't like that. I'm getting a pressing feeling in my shoulder, or I feel sick to my stomach, or, I'm not feeling good. Pay attention to that, because your body's trying to tell you something. Ooh, Georgia Nadeau. Katie, can we talk about dreams? Any signs we can watch for to know if we are looking at past events, life, or future events? Okay.
Yeah, you put this question up early and they were getting so much of it in, I missed it. So go.
Okay. So dreams. Dreams are a really great way of number one, blowing off steam. Okay, so what they do is sometimes it's almost like a screensaver, and your body doesn't know how to calm down. It doesn't know how to stop. So sometimes subconsciously your body's letting go of things. when you have very vivid dreams, so it's not 1 minute you're here, the next minute you're there, or it's very shadowed. When it's very vivid, you remember it like you're there. It's in color. It's important. The conversation is intense. You're really in that moment. It is a message, okay? And sometimes it's the visitation, sometimes the entity has come to you, sometimes it's you gone to the entity, sometimes it's premonitions, and sometimes it's past life replays of what has happened, okay? Your subconscious is bringing you back to that moment. When I read people and I pick up past lives, it's for a reason. I'm not privy to that reason, but the past lives that I pick up are of things that you have not dealt with in this life that you're presently in. So if, somebody's got a really bad fear of heights, I don't know this at the time, but all of a sudden I'm picking up this person's, fell off a cliff, and I'll say to them, I picked up your past life. You were 22 years old. You died, you fell off this cliff. Then the person says, oh my God, I have this really bad fear of heights. I can't even, go up a couple stories. We know we got to work on it in this life. Okay. So it really comes down to what's occurring in the dream. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. I want you to write it down. When you have a notepad at your nightstand, as oftentimes we forget our dreams as the day goes on. Write it down. It may not make sense to you now, but it will in time.
Okay. Herbie said, I believe in the paranormal, and I'm 55. I've been studying it since I was 10. My wife is a sensitive, and I'm more of an encyclopedia of stuff. Do you both believe it's better to learn in the field or go to a class on parapsychology? I'm in the field. I get bored reading about stuff. I do. I am a doer, and I'm not a reader. But that's just my take. And I'd rather personally experience something to learn it better than I would be reading it in a book. Mm-hmm. That's just my take.
I like a little column B and a column A and column B. So I am somebody that I like to analyze how things go. So it's really hard as a psychic medium. Going into a location, I get a call from somebody and they say to me, I'm having a haunting, I'm having so much activity. I really actually try to get the least information possible because I want to walk in and give my read as to what I'm feeling and then correlate it with the evidence. So as I'm walking and doing the walk around in the investigation, pre-investigation, it's my team members that are grilling these people and going through the forums, asking the questions. In terms of starting out paranormal, I really think something like this is great. We're sitting here, we're not in the field, we're having these chats, we're talking, we're discussing how things work. We're a sounding board back and forth for each other. I think these are fantastic ways of doing it too. Would I suggest somebody buying a piece of equipment and going to a haunting and figuring it out that way? No, I think you should go with people who are well-versed, who are well-grounded and well-respected in the field. I wouldn't go necessarily with a hothead that just wants to bully and create reactions. That's not something I would do. So it really is circumstantial. It depends on what you're doing. As Richard said, yeah, some of the best stuff that you can learn is in the field. It can be boring and monotonous. A lot of people get into paranormal and think it's like what it's like on TV. And sometimes you spend hours sitting there waiting for something to happen. Sometimes it's not what you think it is. And so, it's knowing the ins and outs and kind of both sides of it that's important.
True. Good answer. Now, Jen just said, if you're interested in getting into psychic detective work, what should someone do to get themselves there? I think it kind of depends on what you mean by psychic detective work. Mm-hmm. We don't really do detective work. Well, at least we don't mean to. We just come across the site, and next thing you know, we're getting information, what we call a download, and you don't know what that information is. You have to decipher it sometimes. Sometimes it's you got to talk to people around the situation and see if it makes sense to them. But I'm not sure what you mean by that, because I knew somebody that tried to be a psychic detective, and it was too confusing a role for what they were trying to do. So I'm just not sure of exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Might be something to look into. I just have no idea to direct you correctly. So I will go ahead and turn to my partner and see if she's got something besides me having nothing.
Okay, Jen, to clarify a little bit, are you meaning like working with you mean like a psychic investigator, like a paranormal investigator, or are you talking about a psychic in terms of working with the police in missing persons cases and stuff like that. I've had quite a bit of experience with that. I have worked with police and retired police in helping to try and solve cold cases. We've been successful in some, and some are still open cases, or we've reopened cases, none of which I went looking for. I was contacted. So in terms of getting into it, it's always fallen into my lap. I've never gone searching for it. It just happens.
She means helping police. Let me kind of give you a little tip. Katie and I both were involved in something together not too long ago regarding a missing person, for example. The last thing you want to ever think about doing, because I'm a former cop, so I'm just going to tell you, don't go to a police station and say, I can help you find this person. Because now you become a POI. That's a person of interest. If you weren't involved in that case, you are now involved in that case, and they're going to want to know how you know this. So, going into that is pretty cool, and helping the police is great. Mm-hmm. I would actually wait to a point where they come to you. Mm-hmm. Through somebody, again, I know of somebody that, is worked with Katie and I trying to get some answers, and but you got to be real careful in that role, because that could put you in some sticky situations where you are the person they may be looking at, because mm-hmm. you happen to know. Here's an example. I did an investigation at a home, and I went to go visit the home prior to kind of get a daytime walkthrough, and I get to the property, and there's a person I can see that is buried in the back of the woods about 100 yards away that was killed in 1975 in a motorcycle bar. Now, how do I tell police that?
Right, without becoming a suspect.
Yeah, how do I tell the police, oh, by the way, there's a dead guy buried over here, was buried in 1975? You have to really be careful. And I hate saying that because it sounds like I'm telling you not to help the cops. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be careful what you get yourself involved in. Your level of involvement is going to either help you or hurt you. So you got to be real careful. It's unfortunate you even have to think that way, but that's the reality of what we do.
Yeah. Now, Francine had asked that question. She had asked about fake crystals. So in my experience, if I was to give you a hamburger, you're going to eat that hamburger, or I said, I have a gummy bear that has the same flavor. It's flavored as a hamburger. Okay. If you close your eyes and take a bite, it's going to taste the same. But what is authentic and what isn't? And so it comes down to vibrational frequency. It comes down to authenticity, all of that stuff. Yes, proof, the power is in the faith behind it. But if you're at that level where you can prove your faith, you don't need the crystal. Okay, you don't need it. In terms of crystal healing, I do believe things happen for a reason. I do believe that certain crystals are there for a reason. They're there at a certain vibration to bring things back and forth. Okay. If I could say my go-to is selenite, that's self-charging. It charges all things. And so in other words, it doesn't, you don't need to recalibrate it. It helps to charge and set up other crystals and bring them back to their natural oscillation. Tourmaline. So tourmaline and snowflake obsidian, black obsidian, those types of things help to repel, to get rid of negative energy. Quartz amplifies energy. That's a go-to. Amethyst is great for psychic impressions, bringing out emotions. Rose quartz, again, emotions. What else would I say? We're going to have a whole episode of crystals. Bottom line is, you're better to go authentic. Okay, you're going to get that. It's going to help you that much more.
Right. Now, Mario said, I wish I had a discussion with a peer today, and he was describing reports of activity that his team are investigating. Now, one of the sightings he shared with me was a shadow entity in a long coat with a hat. Now, I've heard of a few cases where this entity is cropped up in numerous locations. I'm just wondering who or what you think of this entity. Is it one of the same? Is it a controller? Okay, so here's the thing. Let's say I walk up to, this is not the entire answer. This is just one of them. So let's say I walk up to you and I go, dude, you would not believe this really old hag woman showed up at this house. She looked like a hag. This spirit looked like something that just jumped off a broom. Isn't that crazy? And now you go to another investigation, and man, did you hear what Richard heard and saw? And it just kind of carries itself on. You can manifest. It's been proven you can manifest the spirit
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't even there. But again, we also have to remember time period has a lot to do with apparel. Bad guys always wore black. Back in the days, they always wore dusters and overcoats to keep themselves warm. They didn't have fleece-lined North Face clothes. Um, the apparel is what you got to look at there, but it could be a milliard of reasons to why that character shows up in different locations. It's like the woman in a white dress. I mean, my
Right,
God, that woman in a white dress is just, I mean, she owns the paranormal world. There
right.
must be 18 bazillion of them, but she's there because it's a very easy descriptor. And back in the day when people of certain eras of time slept, they slept in a white gown. So there's a lot of things for that too. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know what the answer is, and that's going to take some research. I'd love to hear what if you do the research. I'd love to hear what you found out.
Yeah.
I
And
really, really would.
really look at uh, what was occurring during that time. Was it just the sighting? So when you see these things, when you experience these things, what other things are happening in the background? Are you getting EMF spikes? Are you getting, loss of coordination in your, have there been previous instances of people getting scratched, bitten, burned? It really comes down to what is happening around you at that time. So, as Richard said, things can manifest. It could be a coincidence that it's a guy in a fedora, or it could be the Hat Man, and there's distinct stuff that goes on with the Hat Man. So, really, it's going back and investigating a multitude of times to try and get more of that evidence to find out what's happening. It could be a residual energy. A dude walks through a door every day, and that's what you're seeing. It has nothing to do with malevolency. But it's important. If I was in your position, I would be going back and trying to conduct as much research to see, get it, change your answers, or see if you're getting the same answers.
Now, Irene, she lives in Japan. She's one of our viewers from
Yeah.
Japan. She's my friend's house has buried bodies all over the property, but he doesn't want to tell anyone or try to begin to tell the police about it. And how would he even begin to answer that me from Japan and that I knew where the bodies were at? You know, I'd hate to say the answer is I believe that you'd have to be able to count on the police department you're working with. If you're able to pinpoint where one of the bodies are and you're in Japan and you have a alibi for that, that'd be something worth looking into. And just let them try to find one spot where one of the bodies are that you're able to call out, and then go from there. But with you being in Japan, a little hard to say it had anything to do with that. Just to let you know. Let me see here. Okay, so Steven says, first of all, Steven, welcome. Steven says, what is the purpose of a soul contract?
Oh, that's a great question. You want to take that, Richard?
Nope, sure don't. Go ahead.
Okay, soul contracts, really great. So soul contracts are a contractual agreement that you have before you go through the descension process of coming into this life and being born. So we have goals in place. We have things that we want to accomplish as spiritual entities coming and doing in this life. So it's not what you think of, like, I need to, be married for 30 years and have 4 kids. It's not a 3D thing. It's more of a 5D thing, which means it's an energy field. So you want to learn patience, and you want to learn about emotions and forgiveness and what changing in elements are like, and learning surviving loss and grief, and what it's like when it's stressful, and the calming sensations, and helping other people through this at the same time. So the soul contract is not only you coming or descending into this life and being born and having this life, but it's also the people who are with you at the time. So everybody in your presence, there's never a coincidence. Everybody's been brought in, and they're working together, and you're all kind of like a puzzle piece that you're all together working on this. And so that's really what this is that contractual agreement or life that you've set up together. I hope that answers your question, but that's what that is.
Yeah, I'm from New York with a family and business that really has another meaning for a contract. Um, yeah, but no. But it's, the paranormal to me has always been a really weird subject outside of the usual norm of running across dead people. There's a lot of things out there that people are getting into that kind of scare me. You for example, they feel they have to go through a class of Ghost Hunting 101, become certified to be a ghost hunter. And look, education, I'm all about it, okay? You can get better education being in the field on a paranormal investigation. Learn about the property, there's your education. Learn about who lives there, who possibly might be there, investigate the place and back it up. Um, I just think we're taking this in so many different directions as paranormal investigators that we're kind of back to, oh, you can't go here, this is our place, and it's, God bless. There are, I know this kind of goes in different directions, but there are so many spirits around. We have no problem sharing,
Right.
okay, and we have no problem learning. And I'm a big EVP guy, okay, just saying. Um, I have learned more from the dead than I think I did with some of my school teachers. Because I'm here to tell you, I've been told more than once by people who lived in that history that what you read in the book was garbage. The history wasn't right. So, I mean, there's just a lot to learn from. But I think if we all kind of took a tack of how do we help, I guess is what I'm getting to. How do we help the spirit? Are they okay? Are they content? If not, how do we help them? I mean, how many times have we gone in an investigation and heard help me?
Right.
You know, so let's learn how to do that. Let's learn how to try to help the deceased. Um, if we can do that, I'm sure we'll help the living. So it's kind of a win-win.
Absolutely agreed.
All right, so okay, I know that statement kind of threw me a curveball. Um, oh, Lori Ann, how you doing, Lori Ann? So, all right, I want to talk about something briefly because I had to deal with this last night, and I've had to deal with it before. How do you, if you have a team, if you're a member of a team, how do you handle a member of the team being attacked?
Oh, that's a great question.
How do you have what do you use a brigade to get them out of the building? Do you use do you have someone that is able to cleanse? Do you have someone who understands physical physical ailments from being with the paranormal? Because I'm going to tell you, just using last night as an example, that if I didn't have the experience I have, 26 years, I would have thought I really would have had a person I love dearly be very damaged by the attack.
Mhm.
So I'm curious about this because we can all get gung ho. We can all get, I'm a tough person. And look, it's going to happen. You can't play in this field without eventually
Mhm.
something dramatic or traumatic happen to a member on the team.
Mhm.
Do you have a plan in place for evacuation out of the building or the house? Do you have people assigned to watch for this person and you watch for that person? Everybody keeping eyeballs on everybody. Do you have that plan? Because I'm here to tell you, you don't have a plan in place. When it happens, it's going to be a complete cluster and it's going to go bad. And God bless the person that's involved. So, getting through the muck and mire of investigating, do you have a plan or an emergency procedure for someone who got attacked? Do you even know how to get rid of scratches if somebody gets scratched? Do you know what methodologies to use to reduce the inflammation of the scratch? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no,
I'm just
those are
curious.
all great statements. I think you have to, like any, you know, any sports team, any actors guild, any part of teamwork that you're doing, everybody has a specific, kind of purpose. And so, it takes a lot of people to steer a ship and, to operate a ship as well as a plane, as well as a tank, as well as it takes a lot. And if you don't have everybody working and the synchronicities happening where everybody's correlating and working together, it doesn't always end well. So it's
Yeah.
really great to have the buddy system, we call it, where we're all working together. And as you said, Richard, making sure that everybody's safe and everybody's watching everybody else's back, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Now, I mean, Herbie brought up a point. He said maybe also knowing what your teammates believe in would be a healthy example for their religion. Absolutely. I've got people on my team, they're not really atheists, but they just don't have a strong relationship with God. I've got people on my team that go to church every Sunday. I've got people on my team, myself, who has stood in the pulpit. And then I've got people don't have any relationship. So how do you handle that? I think what you have to handle first is the physical attack, because that's physicality. You can get that through anything. Example: we had somebody last night during our shoot, our filming, got scratched. Does anybody know what the first thing to do is if a team member gets scratched? Bueller, anyone? Ice cube reduces the inflammation, reduces the redness. Rub it in a circular motion around a scratch. You know how I know that? I've had it happen way too many times. The first thing you have to do when something negative happens to a teammate, get the hell out of the building. Separate yourself from the activity. Immediately separate yourself from the activity. Get out. Get away. Go sit down somewhere separately from the building. Get yourself a Coke. Because what happens is when you have a very traumatic paranormal experience, you have a tendency to go into shock. Does anybody know what to do to reduce shock in the field? Feel it? Good? No. Coke, sugary drink. Sugar counteracts shock. So I'm going to take you out of the building, okay? I'm going to give you a can of Coke or Pepsi or whatever sugary beverage you want, and you're going to take it, you're going to ingest that, and then we're going to have somebody else running the ice cube on your arm or your hand or whatever is been scratched, okay? And when you get done with that Coke, you're going to rinse your face with water. That's just kind of just, yeah. And then April says breathe, right? Breathe.
Right.
Many of my team members have the smart watches on their wrist. Yeah. One of my team members went up to 162 beats per minute. I mean, that's basically stroke level. And it was all over this incident. You've got to be careful. You've got to look. If you go into a team and you know one person on that team better than you know anybody else, Katie wouldn't act that way. That you're the person who needs to watch Katie, because you need to watch the other team member. If they start acting weirdly, start acting different, start going from being loud and obnoxious, because everybody can be loud and obnoxious. I've been there myself, and goes to being quiet. Okay, somebody who is being introverted, not extroverted. Something has changed. Something might not have gone right. And I'm here to tell you right now, if you want to stop a lot of that garbage, take a break every couple hours and step out of the building.
Right.
Step out of the building. So I wasn't trying to make anybody understand, hey, you need to take a lesson from Richard. No, you don't. All of Richard's lessons are from experience, not from education, from experience. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't think about what you have to do, when you have to do it, do I have a plan? Do I have somebody that understands how to stop shock? Because what happens is the person has that kind of dramatic experience go on. They go into shock. They're not the same for the rest of the night.
No.
And most oftentimes they got to go home. If we can get them out of shock and we can get them cooled down or warmed up and separated from the activity, I'll tell you another thing. The best medicine I have ever utilized in getting a person back to who they were, music.
Yeah. Vibrational frequency. It's a change of vibration. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's see, Herbie put this on. Let me see this. With atheists, they believe in reality, what they can see, feel, and touch. So have them believe that it was something else while you gently escort them out. Try to keep them calm. Music distracts all as well. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And it's just, what was I saying? Valerie said, Richard, Coke, me. Wait, what? Richard, sugary drink, me. Oh, right. That makes sense too. But guys, these are just little things you need to keep in the recesses of your mind. And I'll tell you, there is no shame behind writing up an emergency manual. None. Because you're going to have times where somebody might fall. We're just talking regular physical accidents. Somebody might fall. I've seen people go through a floor because the building wasn't very well structurally sound.
Yeah.
What you going to do about that? 911, right? Yeah.
Right.
So again, be careful.
Yeah. For my team, I have a first aid kit that's always packed with our equipment. We try to get to know, obviously, our teammates, any allergies, anything. When we go into the location, I often ask, is there been any changes if we were there before to any of the safety equipment, any guns on the premises that we should be aware of, hidden behind a door that could fall open and hurt somebody, any open floor joists, any bad stairs, any doors that don't could lock you in. That's another thing. A lot of people are thinking of like being physically falling or thrown or whatever, but you can go into places that you can't get back out of. So
Well, I get back out. You may not be able to use that door right ever again, but I'll get out.
You may not be able to door. There may not be a door left, but those are the types of things that don't be afraid to ask. And the worst case scenario, if you're having issues with teammates, if you're having somebody being attacked or targeted, we this last investigation we went on, poor April, she was targeted for sure. Would I have sent her back in the building or said go back? She probably would have, knowing April. She's a tough broad. But no, we were like, yeah, we're good. We're going to back off a little bit. Now, it's important that you don't want to show intimidation, right? Because it was kind of targeting at her, had its eyes on her. But she also didn't show fear. She was strong in her conviction. She was like, that ain't cool. Not going to happen. Not going to allow you to affect my energy. But also respected the space and the fact that we didn't go back in. So don't be afraid. If you're to back out, that's okay.
Now, Francine said, Richard, you have the experience. What if somebody walks into an abandoned house and feels something negative? Should you just walk out? Yep. Last thing you need to do is become paranormal fodder. Okay? You are a weak link being by yourself. If there's something negative in there, because look, if you want the best detector, paranormal detecting system you could ever have in your life is your body. If you walk into a building, your body goes, get out. Get out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're by yourself, you don't want to take a chance.
No.
But yes, separate yourself from the activity. Let's see here. So, how can I call upon my guardian angels and spirit guides to help me while struggling through things? Meditation doesn't work well. The first thing I will tell you, and again, I will leave another answer up to my esteemed colleague. I would tell you to find a place to ground yourself. Find running water. Streams, rivers, what have you. Take your shoes and socks off, stand on the ground, sit on the ground, and breathe. Give yourself a good 20 minutes to just breathe. You will not believe how big an attitude adjustment that is. And then there's always the salt bath. Believe it or not, salt baths, I preach them all the time. Katie will tell you. Anybody who's been on the show knows. I will preach them all the time. Half cup sea salt in the hottest you can stand a bath with candles, no phone, and no lights and no interruption for 20 minutes. Pull the plug, sit in the water, envision a negative energy going down the water with going down the drain with the water. Get out, you're done. You will not believe how well you'll sleep.
Yeah,
It
agreed.
is definitely a way to change your energy.
And getting in touch with your guides is not questioning. People question too much. They second guess themselves. Is it though? Did I get a message? Is it this? Is it that? Stop questioning. Allow the answer to come to you. Write it down. Sit with it. Stay with it, and give it some time. Part of your spirit guide's journey is to guide you, not to dictate to you, not to take over for you, not to, yes, they protect us, yes, they stay around us, but they're supposed to be helping us on our path. We have what's called free will on this side. You have to trust your faith. You have to trust it. Sometimes your body goes into overload, and sometimes you suffer from anxiety, or you suffer from, overstimulation. Sometimes there's external things that are a medication or a drug you could be ingesting. When you're taking these things, it can change the natural chemicals, the vibration, and it can also change your outlook on things. So it's like, I tell people, oftentimes I'll go to a location for readings. I'll be doing a group session. It'll be, for example, a girls' night. We've got a bunch of ladies who have gotten together. They want me to come in and read for them. They're all sitting around drinking a glass of wine, and they ask me, would you like to have a glass of wine with us? Well, it sounds normal. Yeah, you sit around. I am working, but yes, I could sip on a glass of wine while I'm doing my reads. 2 reasons. Number 1, to me, that's not professional. And number 2, it changes my dynamic, my vibration as to the information I'm downloading. So it puts me in a vulnerability. Say I'm reading someone and I've had something to drink, and this person I'm reading has an evil attachment. That evil attachment can see my vulnerability in the fact that I've had the drink. Okay, not that I'm a big drinker, but you understand what I'm saying. It can have the attachment. It's the same with getting over a cold or getting over certain medications. When your body's at a vulnerable stage, it's putting your life at risk. So it's changing your vibration. You want to make sure that you're not questioning yourself, you're at your tip-top shape, you're not in any drugs or alcohol that could be changing that or inhibiting the fact that your guides are trying to come through, you're trying to communicate. Most of all, it takes patience.
It does. Nadine brings up a good point. She said, there may be times that the person everyone is depending on for healing energy or calming others is that one who's affected. So more of these types of team members should be there if possible. Absolutely. There should not be just one person that you have to count on. Okay? Everybody should know how to pull somebody out of a building. Everybody should understand the reasoning behind that. Everybody should understand how, again, certain things affect team members. Okay, my team, every time we do an investigation, we get together and break bread first. And I will ask everybody on the team, you good? You good? Are you good? That way, in case something isn't good, we can work on it. We can fix it. But on my team, everybody watches like a family. My team, everybody watches everybody. And everybody has the responsibility to make sure everyone's okay. So yes, I agree. There should be more than one team member that should be there to do that, if necessary. It shouldn't be something that people lean on one person for. That could be detrimental, I think. So yeah, excuse me. Yeah, something to look at.
Yeah.
There's so much on here. Whoa.
We love your questions, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being patient. Well, I don't have the ability to look at the questions, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. Richard, if there's something specific to me, don't be afraid to put it, Katie, in the comments, but I can't see your comments tonight, so I'm with you in spirit.
We've just got a lot of comments about the actual, show, which is great to have us back, guys. We're thankful that you're glad. We're thankful that you're glad to have us back. Yeah. It is a work of love just for you guys. And that's the reason why we're back. Because I will tell you, not having one more thing to do during my course of my week would be great. But we do it. We do it for you guys, And this, this is another reason why we do it. Everyone's getting something from this. Anyone's getting something from us. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. This is a correlation of paranormal enthusiasts, team members, psychic mediums, television personalities, and experts, or close to being experts in the paranormal field. Everyone here gets along. Everyone here, together network to help each other out. And, there are very few, and I'm going to brag on us for a minute, but there are very few podcasts I've seen where they are interactive with the viewers and actually answer questions and derive subject matter, sometimes offer just what the viewers want to see.
Yes.
We do try to tell you guys any chance you get, if you have a topic you would like for us to discuss, please let us know. Please let us know, and we will bring it up. We have no challenge with it. Katie and I have covered over the last 2+ years, I think, every possible subject matter there can be in the paranormal. We are going to be bringing guests on as we can. We've always had a great variety of guests come on the show, but we're going to do that. And, give you a chance to be able to talk to some people you see on television you'd probably would like to talk to in person. We're going to give you those opportunities, but we're never going to step away from helping to educate and helping to bring light to it and truth to what's going on out there. Because we'll just tell you how it is. You might not like everything we say, yeah, but you're stuck with us.
I hope you like it.
That's what that works. Let me see here. Stephanie said, "Don't touch fresh jalapenos and touch your eyes." No kidding.
You know what? That's a killer.
Ooh.
Especially with ghost peppers.
Now, Herbie says, when starting out investigating, what do you both suggest is the most important equipment to first get besides crystals, religious items, and flashlights? Ooh, I think I might have heard this question before. I am a digital recorder, Bluetooth speaker, auxiliary cable carrying member. I will do audio 7 days a week. We have a team. My team is incredible. I will brag on them all day long. I have 3 ladies that have dowsing rods, and they will do triple confirmation dowsing rods. I've seen them do it. Lori, my lady, will do automatic writing. We do. I don't get into a lot of the stuff. Yeah, we have the equipment. We have the lights and the bells and the whistle stuff. We do because it's cool. But when I do a walkthrough, I just do a walkthrough with a digital recorder. That's it. Now, I might buy earbuds to pop the earbuds in so I can hear what's being said. If something answers me and I can't hear it as a clear audience, I'll cover it with that. But yeah, digital recorders for me are the end all be all.
Yeah.
They really are.
So I always tell people when you first start out, one of the best things that you can use, which most people already have, is your phone. It is an audio recorder. It is a speaker. It is a flashlight. It is a telephone. It is there's apps you can download. No, I'm not advertising certain apps being the end all be all. But if you're starting out and you're wanting to experiment with these things, it's something to have without having to invest a lot of money. As Richard said, then I move on to an audio recorder. Really great. I personally love the SB7. I have a couple of those that we utilize. I've made one into a portal box where you're not listening to sweeping frequencies. Thermal camera, stuff like that. When you get into how invested you are into these paranormal investigations, there's a lot more equipment that can be utilized. But again, phone, recorder, that's, it acts as you can snap photos, you can use it as a video camera. Like there's a lot of things you can do with it. So.
Yeah. Carlotta said, what would I send someone to be able to see this? Our show's available here on Facebook on my page. You can just send anybody to my page. My page is public. So anyone can look up Richard Ruland and they come on this page. They can see the shows all the way back to 2.5 years ago. we haven't deleted a show yet. So we've got over 2.5 years worth of shows on my page alone. Plus, we
And
have
we
two.
also have a Let's Talk About It page. We have a Let's Talk About It, so you could
Yeah,
look up Let's Talk About It on
yeah,
Facebook.
there
It's
you
its own
go.
page. We also share and do a lot of the shows, like, each episode's on that as well.
Yeah, forgot all about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, so let's talk about it. Paranormal podcast page. Let's talk about it. The shows Katie handles that when she sends the shows over there when we're done, and so that would be a great page for people to come on to be able to see. That would be a great page. Thank you for the question, though. Okay, well, it looks like Valerie already put that up already.
Perfect.
She's got a web address on
Thank
it.
you.
Tara says, Richard, are you saying that you can use a digital recorder and hear live if there's something picked up? Yes and no. It depends on the recorder. Some recorders are live edit. I will religiously use Sony ICD series recorders. So Sony ICD dash, UX512, UX523, UX560, 570, ICD UX dash something. Will get you into a recorder that allow you to be able to plug in earbuds in the earphone jack and the headphone jack and hear what's being recorded live.
Mhm.
It's a little unnerving, let me warn that. It's a little unnerving at times because if you capture an EVP says, get the hell out, and you got that in your ear, you're hearing it live. So you need to be prepared for that. But yes, it is really dependent upon the recorder. That's why I always will stick with Sony's. Sony ICD series recorders are great for that. They really are. We've got a lot of stuff coming across now. Let's see. Wow. What movie or TV show is as true as you've seen it in real life? For the paranormal? Um, hmm,
How do I answer that?
I can tell you as far as what I have seen that I believe does a better job than most was probably Holzer Files. Probably the Holzer Files. They got a new one coming out though, sometime at the end of this month called 28 Days Haunted. I have several friends of mine that are on there, Shane Pittman being one of them, Jeremy Leonard being another, that are buddies of ours that have been guests on this show that are in this new show, this new series. And it's based on individual teams going into different building, and they just have live camera rolls for everything. I believe. I haven't seen it yet, but I believe that's what's going on. But that's where I would tell you it's hard, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about whose responsibility it is that it's garbage in a lot of places, because production companies have one thing in mind: production. They have theatrics and production. Is it good TV? If it is not good TV, they aren't going to do it. Now, you also have to understand that production companies, a huge majority of them, the people involved with it have no paranormal experience. So it really just goes with whatever they decide to go with. I had an example where the Tennessee Wraith Chasers were in a building, and one of the investigators was in the room, and I saw what I call the warbling orb go right through the wheel of a wheelchair, and you can hear the ding sound on the middle. When he went through it, producers never even touched it, didn't even speak about it. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say exactly where to go to for that, but that's where you gotta.
So I agree with you. I think that Holzer Files is really good. There's a lot of good content. I think there's a lot of investigators with integrity. I have to tell you, I have been part of Paranormal Survivor since season one. I shot 5 seasons with them, and I can honestly say on any of the episodes that I have done, that I say with integrity and honesty that nothing was faked. Everything that we talked about was fact. Was
Right.
fact. There was no fiction. We stayed true to our word when we had the experiences. And so to say that real life, I guess, is reality TV, I would have to say it'd be a little biased and say that was something that I can honestly say was real. There was never, not once did the producers ever say to me, can you change this, or can you amp it up, or you can't do it that way, it's got to be this way. It was all honesty and recollections of what happened during investigations. So that's another one that I can say I safely was part of, was real.
We got a big comment. I'm trying to see if there's something in there that we need to put on the screen. It's a huge comment. Thank you for the information, Lori. You guys are always more than welcome. Thank you, Dean, saying this is a great show, because we're almost at the end of our rope already.
I know. I can't believe it. Sounds so fast.
Like 10 minutes left. Nadine said we will be at the Paracon for the Warrens on the 29th. Wish you two were there.
Oh, I wish.
Thank you.
One day we'll get there.
One day. I truly think everyone would love you there. Would love you both. Well, thank you. We appreciate that too.
Yeah.
One thing I will tell you guys that we would appreciate, on top of you showing up, because again, you guys have a tremendous ability just to show up, and we thank you for that. But I would say if you feel like you've heard, learned, saw, or caught anything on here you felt might help someone else, share the show. Just share the show. I mean, we've got two really great networks that would love to see us, have slammed viewership pages on these things, and we would just love to have people who need the information and the knowledge get it. So if you wouldn't mind sharing the show, we would be very grateful of that. We're starting back out again. We're trying to get guests lined up, but we will have a topic for you guys next week. But we wanted to kind of come in, get everyone acclimated again with the show and how we run things. And thank you all for the ability to come back and for the ability to show up, because we came back. So we thank you for that. What kind of things do you have going on in your life, Katie? What kind of paranormal stuff do you have?
Paranormal. So you know what it's like. It's coming up to Halloween, so I get a lot of phone calls for investigations. It seems that it's in people's present consciousness, and they want us to go and go to certain places. We have another Buck Hill trip supposedly coming up soon. I have a few residentials that I've had to put off due to family death and stuff like that. So I've got that stuff going on. But you know what it is I'm always doing readings. So I'm getting back in the groove of starting to meet people. It seems that the corona thing has started to subside a bit, and people are getting back to normal life here in Ontario, which is good. And so that's where my state is. That's what I'm doing. That's busy. I'm going to be doing a podcast, a radio show for a local radio station coming up. I'll talk about that once I can release it, but that's going to be coming up. So, all things paranormal.
Yeah, we're pretty busy ourselves. Like I said, we're trying to finish up this project and filming this project, and then I think we have maybe 5 minutes to breathe, and it'll be Christmas, and then and life kicks in again January 1.
Absolutely.
We have been kind of hit a little hard from the people that have gone on our tours, wondering when the next tour is. The last one was July 16th. We just have not had time to put in a building assembly together. We're going to probably do another, couple, 3 tours this year if we can. But we're almost at the end of the year. I mean, we're going into 2 weeks from November.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you have any subject matter that you wish to talk about, if you have any questions, there's never any stupid questions on this channel. We welcome all of them. If you have any subject matter, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to concentrate on, we had some wonderful questions tonight. And as I can tell through the direction, crystals was kind of that was a topic. That was a pretty big topic. Richard and I are going to do an episode on that. We're going to be doing a show on crystals and crystal work and how they work, and vibrations and cleansings and all that stuff. So you have to tune in for that. But if there's any other subject matter you guys would like to learn more about, or you'd like to be acquainted with, please reach out. Just send us a message, put it in the comments, and we'd love to talk about it.
Absolutely. Mario says, I love how informative your show is. I don't think I've viewed it once where I haven't learned something
Oh,
new. I love you guys. And we
oh,
love you
thank
guys too.
you. We love you too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lori says, when will you be back? Every Sunday for the next 3 months.
Yep, it's gonna be good. Except for Christmases and holidays, right? We're gonna be taking some breaks there, so it's not every single Sunday, but all the regular Sundays are
Explain
gonna be.
something because I got a question from one of our viewers about this. Canadian Thanksgiving, why is it held on a date that it's held? I need to know.
Why is it what? Sorry,
Why is it held on a date that it's held?
said that as a true Canadian. Sorry, what was that? Kidding.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it is held earlier. It's held earlier than American Thanksgiving because it's the long weekend. It's a special weekend. So they've allocated that date for Thanksgiving every year. Our seasons are not as large as your seasons. So the American Thanksgiving is over a month long, like, from the Canadian. And so we just have shorter seasons, and that's when we celebrate.
Okay, cool. Because I've been asked and I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All right. Yeah, so we'll be back. Can we do a show on cursed items?
Yes. Yes, of course we can.
You
Of
know
course
who
we
to
can.
bring on for that one, right?
I do. I do.
We might have a planet place.
We might have a really cool cat that would come on.
You never know.
Oh, I think
Black
he would.
cat. A black cat at that.
Right?
All
Likes
right,
to
guys.
lounge around.
Yeah, no, that's funny. We do. We usually have a friend that is weird like we are, who will come on for show subjects, and this is one that is right up his alley. Yeah, right up his black cat alley. So we'll have to look into that, but we will. I won't. We won't let you down. We will do it. We promise. Well, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to kick on out. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Yep, nope, we're good. We're there. So, guys, y'all please be good to each other. Please have a great week, and we will see you next week. Um, yeah, God willing, creeks don't rise. We'll be here.
And thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming back with us and being patient with us. We really, truly appreciate it. So thank you.
Yep. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.